Hey everybody, welcome back to another action figure review, G.I.Joe Classified Edition, and today we're going to be taking a look at Jason Shockwave Faria. He was part of the 80s line. I think he came out in 87 or 88, and he was known just as Shockwave then. His real name, Jason Faria, obviously, but for the purpose of this release, Hasbro decided to add the Jason Faria to the box so that his name wouldn't clash with the Transformers character of the same name. Obviously, Shockwave is the Decepticon that transformed into a giant laser gun. He actually was released first, so this version of this Shockwave, the G.I.Joe Classified Shockwave, came after, and the Transformer one takes precedent in that respect. G.I. Joe has done this and with other figures as well, figures that have like common nicknames that you can't really trademark. So this isn't unusual in that regards. Anyway, as you can see, Shockwave is a SWAT officer, and he's one of G.I. Joe's urban specialization troops. So he goes into urban centers and coordinates there with whoever G.I. Joe Command sends with him and whatnot. He'll probably be leader in some cases since that's what he's used to. That's what he was professional at. So you got the box here. Once again, this is the last of the plastic-free packaging wave before we move on to going back to plastic with the quick kick wave. And we've got the figure here with a nice shot in the background. Looks like a train going over the bridge, over the river here, over a ravine. You got artwork on the side. And you got the ribbon with all the stuff he comes with. G.I. Joe on the top there. Legalese on the bottom. Then you have a larger shot of the picture of the artwork. This is number 105 in the line. You got his QR code, file card info, another shot of the file card info rather. Here's the shot of the figure and all the stuff he comes with, 6.2 inches. Close-up of his head with a hat on, and a close-up of the pouch on his upper right chest with his extra shotgun shells. He doesn't come with a shotgun, ironically enough. So he's got shotgun shells on a pouch on his chest, but he has no gun to fire them with. And then you've got more legalese on the bottom. And here is the Shockwave figure. Pretty faithful reproduction, I think, of the 80s line for the most part. He's got that digital camo all over his body, mostly dark blues and light blues, and some blacks on the gloves and the boots there, and the knee pads. And as you can see, yes, he does have those 4 shotgun shells right there on his pouch, even though he doesn't come with a shotgun. The original figure didn't come with a shotgun either, so don't know why they chose to give this one shotgun shells. Anyway, he's got a few overlays. This vest is an overlay. The belt is also an overlay. It's separate from the vest. It's not attached like some of them have been. He also has 2 overlays on his wrists on either side, 2 holsters on either thigh for his guns that are both overlays, and then he's got this nice sheath on his left boot that is also an overlay. So a lot of overlays for this guy. This vest is pretty well detailed. You can see them black there, and then there's blue for the nice sheath and of the pouches. They did paint the shotgun shells, but they didn't paint anything else, unfortunately. Oh yeah, they got his Joe Pro here as well. They did paint that silver with the blue in the middle, and more black and more blue there. The belt is all blue except for the buckle, which is black, and then got several pouches along the side as well. And these, don't know exactly what they're supposed to be for. Apparently Shockwave is concerned with people shooting him in the wrist or something, I don't know. They don't appear to have any function other than as armor. but he's not wearing anything on his upper arms, so I don't know why he thought his forearms needed so much protection. Anyway, here are his holsters. He's got the black knee pads, and he's got those black shin guards, which I absolutely loathe, on the boots. And then there's knife sheath right there, and his boots themselves. I really wish they would do away with these. Stop putting these on figures. It doesn't look good. It's never looked good. And of course he's wearing the balaclava on his head. And under that head he's got the normal dumbbell joint. No hinge. I say this every time, but I really wish they would give them hinges. Going over articulation, he can look down about that far, and look up about that far. He can do the exorcist. He's got a lot of tilt there. His arm can go all the way around. He can get it up to T-pose. Bicep swivel. Double jointed pinless elbows. He's got a vertical hinge on his right and a horizontal hinge on his left. I'm surprised they gave him a horizontal hinge on his left because he has two submachine guns, one for each, or machine pistols, however you want to call it, one for each side. So he's obviously a dual wielder. I wouldn't have expected him to have a horizontal hinge on one of his hands. Male figure, so likely an ab crunch, and yeah, I can see it under there. But the vest isn't going to give you much. You can get about that far forward, which is more than Helix, even though Helix had no vest. You can get pretty decent back tilt, even with that vest in the way. And he can twist again like he did last summer. And he's got some tilt going on there. He's got the drop down hips, and he can do the Van Damme, which Helix could not do. He can also kick out about that high. And kick back about that far. He's got the thigh cut, double jointed pinned knees. It's been, what, 4 years into the classified line now, and they're still using pinned bodies. I don't understand why they haven't developed pinless arms and legs for every figure type by now. Anyway, he does have a boot swivel. His foot can hinge back about that far, and it can go forward about that far. It can rock, and he's got peg holes on the bottom. Accessory-wise, he comes with a riot shield, and it says kind of cool. It's got 4 Cobra symbols all scratched out. I don't know if that means he's shot 4 Cobras or if he's gone up to them and bashed them over the head with his shield or something. But it's mostly black, except for the tampos, the white tampos there. And then you have, I think these are supposed to be lights, because it looks like there's a little, like, wire coming to the other side here. Like this is a control box or something that he can use to turn it on. And then I don't know, these are just design, I guess, maybe. Same down here. Those are gray, and then the lights are in a kind of a yellowish green type of style. It's an interesting looking shield, pretty good. It's different than the Tele-Viper, which is good. One thing I've seen some people complain about is it looks like they glued the handle on the wrong way, because you can see it has like a notch here, which would be ideal for putting your gun on and firing over the top of the shield. But you have to hold it with your right hand because of the way this is designed. You can't hold this with your left hand. So if you're holding it with your right, you can't fire over that notch because it's on the same side. It would have to either be on this side, or this would have to be facing the opposite direction. Now, I've seen some people have pried this off and turned it around and re-glued it so that it's a left-handed shield. I probably won't do that because I don't think I'm not gonna display him firing over the top anyway, but this is just something that I've seen people mention in forums and whatnot about that notch and not being able to properly hold the shield and shoot over it at the same time. So I don't know if that's actually what it's supposed to be for. I'm just passing along what I've read. He also comes with his hat, his SWAT cap, which has the same color as his outfit and same digital camo. And that just pops on his head. The actual 80s figure came with the cap sculpted onto the body. Obviously, you couldn't remove it. Now, another thing I've read people complain about is the lack of maskless faces for some of the Joes, like Beachhead, Barbecue, and him. Like, they think that we should get alternate heads that don't have the masks on. And I agree. I think the Joes should have alternate unmasked heads. I mean, we got one for Big Boa, for God's sake. We've never seen him before with his mask off. At least as far as I'm aware. Like, not in the 80s anyway. But they gave us an unmasked portrait for him for some reason and not for any of these guys. Like Beachhead and Shockwave and whatnot. And Barbecue, whom we have seen with his mask off in the comics. Alright, he also comes with this tonfa or nightstick. Mine's a little bent. I gotta fix that at some point. Just add some heat to it. Maybe it'll go back into normal shape. This should have been in cardboard in the packaging, but it was loose, unfortunately. And this is similar to the one that came with Mutt. And like Mutt, just like Mutt, he doesn't come with a loop to slide it into to hold it, which is annoying. It'd be nice if they gave us ability. I mean, it wouldn't take that much to add a loop to the belt so that the guy can hold his nightstick. Yeah, you can't really get it into his hand very well either. Come on, get in there. And I just put it in his hand the other way. One thing I don't like about classified hands is they're really stiff. I would like if they were a little softer. Not so soft that everything just falls out of them, but, you know, soft enough that you can put stuff into the hands without ripping your fingernail off trying to squeeze the hand open. Or pry the hand open. Or risk breaking off the pegs and whatnot of the item you're trying to get the hand into. Alright. He also comes with a pair of knives, and these are just all black plastic, no paint on the blades, unfortunately. So that's one more thing I'm going to have to do with this guy at some point. I'm going to have to paint the blades on him. And he has two sheaths. One is on his chest, and that's for this knife. That goes here. And then this knife goes into his boot sheath. And it also has that little notch on the end, and I've been told that this is for breaking into doors and stuff. You can use that notch. I think one of the things I've read is if you have a door that has a chain, not a deadbolt, but a chain across, you can use the notch on the knife to kind of slide the chain off and open the door. Lastly, he comes with a pair of machine pistols. The original one came with a micro Uzi or a MAC-10. I'm not sure which one it was, but it also had a suppressor and a stock on it, and it was all blue, just like the figure. This is the replacement for that. These are the replacement for that gun. I don't know what type of guns these are. I'm sure they're based on something, but it's not something that I'm familiar with. It's not as iconic as the Uzi or the MAC-10, so I don't know the name this gun's based on. But, oh yeah, they do have removable magazines. Yeah, there you go. And they go in there pretty tight, so you're gonna have to put a little force in to pull them out. And then go into his holsters there. And there we have Shockwave, all decked out, ready to go. Ready to kick down Cobra Commander's front door and arrest him for disturbing the peace. Shockwave, like I said, came out in the same wave as General Hawk and Helix, Buzzer, and Ripper. The last of the plastic-free packaging wave. And I had this figure, the original, growing up. It's a pretty cool figure. I like this take on him. A few little tweaks that I would make to make him better. You know, like a loop for his nightstick, paint on the blades, make the shield so that he can fire over it while holding it. But other than that, I think it's a good figure. Oh, I'd get rid of the shin guards too. I really hate shin guards. You probably, if you've watched my previous G.I.Joe videos with characters that have shin guards, you know by now that I'm really not a fan of the shin guards. But I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that don't like the shin guards. Definitely a figure to pick up for your display, unless you're just like strictly into the military look of the Joes and you don't want any kind of like police look for any of the figures there. Like you won't get him and you won't get Law and Order or anything like that. But he looks good, you know. He looks a lot like his original. So I don't know if they'll ever do a retro version of Shockwave. I imagine they'll do a retro version of everybody at some point just to make sure they're always out there, you know. Even if the originals didn't sell out at the time, eventually they'll go away, and then new people to the line will be like, oh, I can't get this character without paying $50 on eBay. So then they'll release a retro for like $25 and make everybody happy, except for this people on eBay. Anyway, comment down below what you think of Shockwave, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.